Hi guys, welcome to my YouTube channel, Camera Crash Course. Today I'm going to be talking about double stacking indie filters. So about 3 months ago, I purchased myself an ICE Indie 1000 10-stop filter, and I liked it so much, it pretty much became my personal favorite 10-stop filter I've ever had. I like it so much, I don't even use my big stopper made by Lee anymore. I use this because of its size. So today I'm going to try to find out what are the benefits slash defects or downsides to double stacking two 10-stop filters to get the equivalent of a 20-stop filter. Is it possible? And if so, what do you lose? Okay, so before I start this video, I want to say sorry if my audio is not top notch. I am currently I've purchased a clip-on microphone which will clip onto my shirt in this general area, and it will go to my camera right here, and I should get better sounding audio as there's going to be less background noise. Until then guys, you gotta live with it. One more video. I'm sorry, this is the best I got. So today I'm going to talk about indie filters, specifically double stacking them. So what I mean by this is taking two indie filters and putting them together. So right here I have the equivalent of a 20-stop indie filter. So this is a really, really dark indie filter here. As you can see, if I put this over the lens, you will see nothing. It is so pitch black that even if I look at the sun with this on my eye, I will not see anything. So that's just how black this is. So this is two 10-stop filters from the company ICE. I did a review on this filter about 2 months ago. If you want to watch that, click right here. You can go watch that video. But until then, please watch this video as we'll see what happens when we double stack indie filters. So it all sounds good on paper. We can take two indie filters, a 10 plus 10, get a 20. If we have a 16 indie filter, 16 we get 32. So that's just like really, really dark. I don't even see how anybody could ever use that. That long exposure is like way beyond what I would ever shoot in. I like my top exposure in the daylight is like 8 minutes, but that is really almost breaking the limits of how long I want to do an exposure for. Anyways, guys, so you could take it 10 plus a 4, get 14, 4 plus 4, 8. You see my point? It seems like a good idea, but I want to go investigate and see if there's any negatives to using a filter like this. So what are the drawbacks of using two filters, stacking them on top of each other? I heard online you might get some vignetting. Other people say you're going to get the image quality is not going to be sharp. I don't think that'll be the case with these filters. They're very sharp as is. Each one is very sharp by itself. But I don't know, when you double stack them, we might get a loss of sharpness. I don't know, guys. So we're going to stay tuned. Here we go. Let's go show you what we're doing here. Show you what we're doing. Alright, so I am now back on location, and I am shooting out here around 2:30 in the afternoon, and the sun is currently at its brightest point it's going to be in the day. The reason for that is because I'm shooting at 20 stops. Now with a 20 stop exposure correction, if I was to shoot this same scene at sunset, it would be an extremely long exposure. I would have to wait here for around 35 to 40 minutes. That is something I don't want to do, so I'm going to go for an 8-minute exposure in the middle of the day and hopefully see if that comes out good. First off, I'm just going to take a test shot. So this is pretty much what my camera is saying here. This is without any filters whatsoever. Okay, that's on screen. It's pretty good. It's just a generic photo of the field. Nothing too pleasing, nothing too great about that. I'm now going to put a 10-stop filter on here, do the same test, and then after I take the 10-stop filter, I'm going to go to a 20-stop filter and wait here for 8 minutes while that processes. I'm going to enjoy that. So with the 10-stop filter in place, I can still see through live view mode. That's because it can crank the ISO up and I can still see through a 10-stop filter, especially with the ambient lighting being so bright. Now it puts my shutter speed to, instead of 1/4000th to 1/4 of a second. So it's a big difference here, but it should look exactly the same. I'm going to take a test picture here, and that is what it looks like on screen here. Now if you guys are trying to figure out what exposure you need with different stop filters, you can check out this app right here, linked in the video, and that's for Android, and this one is for iOS. Pretty much what it does is it takes your ISO, shutter speed, and f-stop and converts it to how long your shutter speed needs to be in order to get the same exact exposure. So what I'm going to do now is I've taken the 10 stop filter, I'm going to put the 20 stop filter on, and I'm going to now take another shot, wait 4.5 minutes for that to finally get through. I'll take a look at it in post-processing, and we can compare camera quality, sharpness, vignetting, all the things you would want to not have in a landscape photo, and we'll see how it turns out. So let's put the 20 stop filter on now and see how that goes. So now that I've got the equivalent 20 stop filters on the front of the camera, our shutter speed of 1/4 second is no longer going to give us anything that's going to look black at that. So I'm going to put the camera all the way up into time mode. You can also do this on bulb exposure, but I forgot my remote shutter release. So I'm going to do this on the time setting here, and I'll go for 30 minutes, and I think 30 minutes, and it cuts off 30 minutes. So that's kind of what's up with that. So now I'm going to set the photo. I'm going to take it, I think it's going to be 4.5 minutes. So 4.5 minutes, I'm going to wait here, and then the camera's going to process another 4.5 minutes or something like that, roughly 4.5 minutes of processing time. And that's going to remove any hot pixels you get with a super long exposure. You want to do that so as to avoid photos like this. You don't want the hot pixels, because what happens is when you go and print that photo, they look disgusting and that photo is ruined. So without further ado, guys, I'm going to take this camera, I'm going to put the camera into time mode, take the shot, wait 4.5 minutes roughly, and look at how the camera processed that and see what that looks like in post-processing. Alright guys, I will see you in 9 minutes when I go wrap up this video. Actually, not wrap up the video, move to telephoto. Alright, so as you guys can see, I put my 70-300mm Nikon lens on. Now, I'm just going to do the same exact 3 shots, one without the ND filter, one with a 10-stop filter, and then one with double stacking ND filter, and we'll go take a look at that in post. So I just finished my wide-angle shots. I am now going to take these shots, and once I'm done with that, I'll see you in post, and we'll look at them. So I have opened up and imported all my photos into Adobe Lightroom here. And you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I took 6 photos today. This one right here is the beginning photo we took. This is a 1/4000 second shutter speed, ISO 200, and this is this has no ND filters whatsoever. So it's just your plain, what you kind of call a point and shoot photograph. Nothing exciting with that whatsoever. Now I have added a 10-stop filter on this one. And you guys can see the vignetting has increased a little bit. So if I'll open these up into a view mode like this, you can see that this photo is a little bit less dark in the corners, up here in the corners, as this one isn't. So you can always fix that in post with some helping out the vignetting a little bit. But as you can see, with one filter, it gets a little bit darker on the corners. But when it comes to overall sharpness, both these filters, the one with and without the filters, it's hard to tell the difference. Now, this is the photo where we have double stacked the two images together, or the two filters together, and you can see there's definitely a kind of faded out look here. But check it out, there's not much vignetting going on around the corners, which surprised me, as I would expect it to be more vignetting. However, what kind of happens around here is really grainy and noisy. And you can see some hot pixels that kind of look like confetti, is what I called the first one. And that's not the filter like I misinterpreted in the first one. It's actually me not being the post-processing that the image does, that the camera does to the image, removing the hot pixels. That's that. On the telephoto lens here, this is the same. This is without any filters to the lens. It's just 1/4000 second, ISO 100. It was a little bit brighter. The cloud was pretty bright here, so as you can tell, it's I lowered the ISO to get 1/4000 of a shutter speed, so I wouldn't have to blow out the image that much. Now this is with one 10-stop filter on, as opposed to the other filter without a filter. It looks more warm. And that's not what you want in sky, but I guess you can always fix that in post, because the white balance, which is a little bit off here, and the filter has a slightly warmer tint to it, but very minimal at that. So it's a really good filter. However, the tint is a little bit messy, just a little bit, so not that bad. And now if we take these two, this one on the right is the long exposure we took at 270 seconds, f4.5 ISO 100, and this one on the left is just a regular 1/4000 without any filter at all. And again, not much vignetting on the long exposure, so it's pretty similar to that one, which surprises me. And there is not a lot of hot pixels here, simply because of the way this image was taken. There's just a cloud that blurred out, so it looks like somebody just took a big old paintbrush and smeared white paint on a blue canvas. That's pretty much what it looks like to me. But yeah, so that, I think the lenses performed better on the telephoto lens than they did with the wide angle. But the thing is, you're going to be shooting a wide angle more than you would on a telephoto. So vignetting around the corners is going to be harsher on a wide angle, as the lens is going to see more and the edges of the filter will be more in view. That's what happens. So I did take some time and I post-processed all these images to simulate the same kind of look between them. So if I open all these in a comparison side-by-side view, you can see that let me get rid of these real quick. As I post-process them, they all look pretty similar indeed. This one is the typical 1/4000 without any filter. This one has a 10-stop filter. As you can see, it's a little bit dark on the corner here, and this one has the same darkness, but overall the photos are very similar. And look at this, any tint that this one has is pretty much gone. It's a little bit warmer than this one, but I wasn't too picky. I just kind of picked the preset and put them on each other and made them look pretty similar. But again, any color defects you're going to get with a filter this strength can always be fixed in post. I know I say that a lot, but it's true. You don't have to worry as long as you can manage to fix it in post. Now the next one here are the clouds. These are actually a pretty cool shot. I don't like the long exposure unless I had something with like a landscape mixed into it. But as you guys can see here, it's pretty much identical. This one's a little bit darker here simply because I chose a different preset with it. I don't know why I did that, but I definitely like how that one looks. But all the photos are doable, and yeah, so I think you could pretty much get away with doing a landscape photograph with double stacking filters as long as you're manually focused your camera and you let the camera perform as noise reduction. You might have to do a little bit of cropping just to get any hot pixels around the corners out, but I think you're good to go. So with that being said, I think it is totally doable. Stacking indie filters is something you can do without having to worry too much about it. That's my thoughts about this. Yeah, so double stacking indie filter worked a lot better than I thought it would. Honestly, my hopes were not up there, but I think it is definitely possible as long as you take your time, make precautions, and just work around it. Know what's going to happen with your camera, try it out first, and yeah, everything's fixable in post-processing, but try to get it as right as you can in camera. So guys, thank you for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, smack that like button. I'm trying to get it to 100 likes. Subscribe to me. I'm trying to get to 1,000 in a year. That would be my goal. Share this video, subscribe, like, comment. I will be back next week. Hopefully, cross my fingers. Again, guys, I have a school schedule, so I can't make videos every day. I try to make them weekly, sometimes every other week, depending on my schedule. So guys, thank you for watching. Enjoy your night, day, wherever you guys are. Anyways, I will see you next week, next video. Peace out, guys. See you then.